Welcome to Soul, a weekly entertainment show on fashion, arts and culture, relationships, and mental health. Our co-hosts are Imani Warren and Dr. Delvena Thomas. Now introducing our host, Nicky Says YOLO, Nicky Gelin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of MIA. So, I am your host. I'm Nicky Says You Only Live Once, and I want to remind you all that we are celebrating our 20th anniversary for the Legacy magazine, honoring South Florida's most powerful and influential Black business leaders for 2024. It is taking place at the Sexy Lowe's Hotel in Miami Beach on May 18th. So visit miamediagrp.com for details, how to get your tickets, and all that good stuff. Now, our guest today, she is music to our ears. She is a Billboard #1 soul jazz flutist, vocalist, and composer. And she's also on WCLK 91.9 FM on-air personality. She's also a voiceover artist and a NWACP Image Awards nominated artist. So let's welcome the one and only Ragan Whiteside. Hey. Hey, Ragan, thanks for being our guest today. How's your day going?
Oh, my day is going great. Thank you so much for having me. How's your day going?
It's going great. I can't complain. I'm breathing. I'm alive. That's all that matters.
Yes.
So let's get into it. Now, for those that may not know, tell us briefly about your background.
Well, I am a contemporary jazz, soul jazz flautist, classically trained. Actually, my degree is in classical music performance, but I switched over to jazz right after college. I have 6 albums out total. The 7th one actually comes out in August. And I just try to push the boundaries when it comes to flute playing. You know, people usually think that the flute is one thing, and I'm here to tell you that is not what you think. And it's a lot of fun, and yes, the flute can slap. So
it's really admirable. So I think I pronounced it wrong. I said flutist, but you said flautist.
Both of them are correct. Both are correct. It doesn't matter. Depends on what side of the bed you woke up on that day. So
Sure. Okay. Now, so how did you find your way to the flute or vice versa?
Well, I think it kind of found me. When I was in elementary school, I grew up in Mount Vernon, New York, and the city had this parade that would go through the entire town, and all of the elementary school bands, high school, middle school bands would march in this parade. And I wanted to be in this parade so badly. But at the time I was playing violin, and that wasn't going to fly in the parade. So the band teacher came by. I was in 4th grade, and I said, okay, I want to play drums. And they're like, well, we don't have enough drums, and all the boys want to play it, so pick something else. I said, okay, I'll play the trumpet. And he says, well, we're out of trumpets. It's like, well, what do you have left? And he says, a flute and a clarinet. I said, I'll take the flute. And I was not interested. And but I took it home, and it took me about a week to get any kind of sound out of it, and half passing out and all that thing.
Half passing out.
Oh yeah, it takes a lot of air when you're first learning how to play the flute. You get dizzy. You know, you're just blowing and blowing and blowing, and nothing's coming out, and you're just like, you just want to throw it out the window. But finally, I got a sound out of it, and started really playing, started getting good at it, and started winning competitions, and the rest is history.
Oh, it's history. Wow, that's so awesome. Like, you weren't really that interested, but you were kind of forced to play it, and now you look at that, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. And it didn't take long for me to love it. It didn't take long at all. It's like as soon as I started hearing like actual music coming out of it, I was like, okay. This is not bad. I can dig this. So yeah.
So how many women flute players are there?
Well, in jazz, there are a few, not as many as, there are like sax players, but there are probably about 10 that are, kind of out there, doing it professionally, but it's not a whole lot. Not a whole lot.
It just seems so like niche or niche. Like it's such a like instrument, you know?
Oh, for sure. For
And I do
sure.
want to say, like, prior to Andre 3000, I don't really think the public were fully aware of what the flute was, you know?
Yeah.
So he kind of on that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. First Lizzo popped out with her flute and did a trill and laid everybody out with this one trill. And then here comes Andre 3000. Now, I had to say when I first I said, he's playing the what? He's doing what? And
Yeah, full album.
yeah, and of course, the second it came out, of course, I had to listen to it, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, it's a meditation kind of thing." And but at the same time, it was really cool because suddenly the flute was legit because a rapper was doing it, and not just any rapper, one of the best lyricists, ever. So, for him to bust out and say, "You know what? I'm gonna do a flute record." You know what? By all means, you do that. You do that and let's go do a duet. So
Yes. Do you think like the popularity like increased since he came out? So I forgot to mention Lizzo. She did come out, but in my
Mhm.
mind was Andre 3000 for some reason.
Yeah.
But do you feel like the popularity has increased since with the flute?
Oh, definitely, definitely. People are at least now aware that there is an instrument called the flute. Because it's funny. You can stand there on the stage and play this flute all night, and people are like, "Oh, girl, you could play that violin," or "Ooh, that clarinet." It's like it's a flute, but
Oh, good.
but now people are like, "Okay, you're coming on here with the flute. I'm not going to ask you any questions. Let's just see if you can blow." So
Yeah.
it's good. I'm glad that Andre 3000 kind of like kicked those doors open and you know,
Bring more awareness to the flute. Yeah, of
oh
course.
yeah,
Very
yeah,
important instrument. I love going to the orchestra and I love seeing all the different instruments all come together. And
yeah,
it's great to see that the flute is now getting its props. You know what I'm saying? It's
yes,
on the map. It is important. It's a part of the whole
yes,
entire ensemble. Um,
absolutely.
so let's talk your seventh album called
Mhm.
Ragan. Now, how
Yes.
would you describe your style?
Whew, I love all things funky. I love things with a groove. Anything that's going to make you nod your head and just kind of really lean in. I don't like doing music that you just want to put on in the background and just talk over it. That's not my thing. I want to do music that makes you feel something, that makes you feel good. And if I'm able to make you feel good with just a few minutes, then I've done my job.
Mhm. And you have. I was listening to your I went on your YouTube page and I was like, okay, okay. Doing it. I was like, okay. So do you have like a signature note that you play on the flute that's yours? Like, do you have something that you kind of coined?
At one point I might have, but people like to gank stuff, so it's no longer mine, but it's just fine, you know?
You're flattered. You're flattered,
Well,
Dennis.
yes, it is. It's very flattering, but I do have some signature licks that I have not heard other people do just yet. So not that it's any kind of big whoop, not that it's any kind of technical thing. It's just something that I do, something that I feel in my spirit. So usually people, oh yeah, that's Reagan because she did that thing.
Can you copyright or patent that? I'm just asking. I'm just curious.
Nah, probably not.
Okay. Okay, so now your album drops in August. So walk us through the journey and the meaning of this album called Reagan.
Well, for many years, I was in the tech industry while I was, pursuing my dreams as, a professional musician, and I maintained this whole musical career, putting out albums while I had this full time day job, and finally it had gotten to a boiling point where it was like, okay, you cannot do both anymore. Both of them were getting to a point where it was just taking up a lot of time, and, it was kinda like one of those things, it's like, "Okay, if you're gonna do this, you gotta do it. You just gotta go on and do it, and close your eyes and jump." So, this album, called it just Ragan, because I feel like this is me really coming into my own, really just standing on my own, standing in my faith, and just going for it.
Okay. So it's kind of like maybe the liberation of Reagan in a sense. Would
Yeah.
that be in line?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, for sure. For sure.
So your latest single, it's out right now, and it's called
Mhm.
"Stepping Out." Let's go ahead
Yes.
and play a snippet. Mother Nature said, "Uh-uh."
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah. So you just have to kind of, just make the best of it. And that's exactly what we did, saved a little money too from not going out. So, but
There you go. Say some coins. Okay.
Mhm.
So is that like the purpose of your singles and your music? Is it to like is there like a subliminal message behind you playing the flute, but then also trying to portray a message to your audience?
Um, it could be subliminally, when I do things, I just kind of just go off of intuition a lot of times. So, it's whatever you can get from it, you know, that's what it is. It's never I don't take myself too seriously. Um, and if you get a message from it, I think it's wonderful. And what that message you got is for you.
It's for you. Okay. This is I mean, it's so extraordinary because you're the first like flutist I've ever met. Black
Really?
musician, talented. I'm being honest. So I played the violin when I was younger, and that's
Mhm.
why I love the orchestra. But like it's so niche. It's so niche or niche. Like it's so wonderful what you're doing, and you're bringing awareness to other people, and especially little black girls, of color. So that's a beautiful thing. That it is an art. It's an instrument, and it plays beautifully. Um,
Yeah,
you're gonna say,
it's beautiful, and I'm glad
yeah,
that there's a lot more of us today than there were when I was coming up.
right. Yes, yes. So the universe had other callings for you outside of being a flutist. Now, tell us
Mhm.
briefly about your other roles.
Well, I am on the radio, and it kind of fell into my lap. Um, I was I did a show, and the program director for WCLK was at the show, and he goes, "Wow, how would you like to be on the radio?" And I said, "You're already playing my stuff on the radio. I appreciate it. Thank you." But he says, "No, as, an on-air personality." And I said, "Huh, I never actually thought about it." And he says, "Well, here's a script, audition, and send it on in. Let's see what you got." So I did it, and a couple months later, here I am on the air,
Yeah.
and pretty much learning as I went. And thank goodness there were a lot of, OG, you know, radio DJs personalities that were always around so that I could, just get some tips. And so that was in 2020 of
Yeah.
all years. And ever since then I've been holding down Saturdays with Reagan Whiteside on WCLK every week. And then out of that came my syndicated show, which just started. It's called The Get Down with Reagan Whiteside. And in between all of that, I was reading a lot of ads and commercials for the station, and that turned into a voiceover career. So I'm also I'm also doing that. So it just kind of it really came about organically, but it fell into my lap. It really
Oh, wow.
did.
Reagan, that's so awesome. I have more questions. We have a really quick commercial break. We'll be right.
South Florida. So for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Mesman and Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family, our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids matters because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. Demesman and Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
At DRT Behavioral Services, we provide culturally sensitive mental health evaluations with thorough treatment plans, incorporating alternative forms of wellness, not just Western traditional medicine. Besides medication management and psychotherapy, we provide education to people in the areas of minority mental health with classes on your diet's impact on mood and sleep hygiene for better rest. We also offer weight loss therapy, massages, and facials. Visit brainlovehelp.com today.
And welcome back. So, Ragan, now you had all these opportunities coming your way that was so unexpected. Were you nervous? Were you like, did you question yourself? Like, how did you go about pursuing those, not knowing that you had the talent or the skills to do such?
Yeah, I was scared. I was scared to death. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. But it was one of those things where it's like, okay, this opportunity that people like fight each other over fell into my lap. I got to do something with it. I can't just, I gotta put on my big girl drawers and and just go on and do it. So, I'm a fan of the saying, "Fake it till you make it." So
And you
that's what I
did.
did.
The thing is, it's crazy because like we don't see how the public sees us until they approach us with a question or a recommendation. So all these years you thought, hey, I'm just gonna play the flute. That's my gift and my talent. But then on the outside, the public saw you differently. They saw that you had many skills to you. And it's like an awakening in a sense. Like, oh, that's how you see me? Well, you see
Very
me being
much.
on the radio as a talent? Well, you see me doing this. So yeah, it's we have multiple gifts. Mother's Day is around the corner, so hopefully you get to just chillax and just
Haha.
come back, decompress and rejuvenate. You said haha. Okay.
My kids are 6 and 8. There's no relaxing.
That's funny. Great. So what is next for you and how can we find you?
Well, what's next? I have a bunch of shows coming up. May 18th, I'm in Fayetteville, Georgia. May 30th and 31st, I'm actually in Mount Vernon, New York, going back to my hometown to do a show. California, Napa Valley, in June. Charlotte, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Connecticut, Ohio. It's going. Oh, and in Vegas is in there somewhere. So there are a lot of things coming up there, and also growing the syndicated show and finding time to finish up this album and be a mom. So
Oh, that. Oh, that's so easy. No pressure. Right? So we can visit RaganWhiteside.com. And also,
yes,
what's your IG page? So we can find
that's-
you on Instagram
it's
too.
at Ragan Whiteside, and on Facebook, Ragan Whiteside Music. Yeah.
Hey. Well, Reagan, it was an honor speaking to you. I'm amazed at what you're doing. You're like a
Oh,
superwoman, like playing the flute and all these other roles that you have as well. So very honored for you to be our guest today. And yeah, I would love to see you. Like I see you're gonna be in Panama City, so I have to figure it out. But I would
yes.
love to see you like live. Like I'm gonna put
Oh,
it on my list. So
honored. Yeah, please let me know so I can get you on that list.
yeah, we'll do. We'll do. Well, thank you so much. Keep glowing. I see that glow coming through. And I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor.
Thank you. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Reagan. And up next are my co-hosts, Dr. Delvena and Imani Latifa after this quick commercial break.
So for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Mesman and Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family, our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters. Because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. Demesman and Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
Hey, Nicky, are you ready to take the couch?
April is Financial Awareness Month.
And as such, my sorority, the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated Broward County Alumni Chapter, hosted a financial workshop that featured a financial panel as well as financial workshops, a pitch competition. The financial panel included Bernadette Norris Weeks as the moderator, as well as Matthew Pygott and Deborah Owens, who authored many books in financial topics and financial services. I would like to show you some clips from that day.
Our overall theme today is going to be, what do wealthy people know that some of us may not know, or some of us may learn a little bit later? So, Deborah, the question for you is, wealthy people often possess certain habits. And along the lines of what I was just saying as a lead-in, I want you to share, if you would, some of those habits that wealthy people know that maybe some of us may not. Sure. Great question. One of my favorite questions. And so to your first question, Bernadette, what are the attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors that wealthy people have? Well, what I finally realized when I wrote this most recent book is what they have is inherited knowledge. The blueprint that we received, they received a different blueprint. And the only reason that is because they weren't first generation. So think about it. This is the blueprint that I got. My mother was born in Pineapple, Alabama, the sharecropper's daughter, fifth of 13 children, and she poured everything she could into her children. And me being the youngest, they had more wherewithal by the time they had gained some economic standing, moving from Pineapple, graduated into the Navy, and then settling in Detroit. And at the time they came up, you could live solid middle class, right, without having a college education. And so my mother, me being the youngest, she did everything that she felt like I needed to live the American dream, from private high school to piano, ballet, college. And the blueprint that I've gotten, and I'm sure that you can relate to this, was good education, career, good job, made it to BP, living my mother's best dreams, more than she could have ever dreamed for me. But what I found when I got into that career, almost happenstance, was that wealthy people had a whole different blueprint. And that blueprint was the result of them having access, right? They weren't first generation. So it was not unusual for me in my role to see people bring their kids in at 21, sit them down, show them the trust fund that their great-granddaddy had bought P&G stock 3 generations ago, and now you're inheriting this wealth. Okay, so I want you guys to get this. It's not only attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors, but they were having different conversations.
Deborah also talked to us about diversifying our accounts and how to invest our money in different areas.
We need to know, what we need to understand, Bernadette, is we have to go from being just earners. Yes, we have to earn more money, but we have to learn how to turn our income into wealth.
Well, Nikki, this is pretty much all I have for you today on financial wellness. I didn't say much about budget and financial goals, but that's something that's sure to come. Just remember to stay healthy. Health is wealth.
Well, that's all I have for you today, Nikki. Say brain love, brain love, brain love.
Peace and beautiful blessings, my MIA family. Welcome to another Arts and Culture Report by Imani. This time doing the Georgette's Tea Room first annual 5K run, located right in the heart of Central Miami. Not too far from Miami Central, but it was a fabulous day for folks to come out to support the historic Georgette's Tea Room, which was a powerhouse of a location back in the 1940s, right in historic Brownsville. I spoke to Miss Kim, and this is what she had to say.
Just hello, my name is Kim Johnson, and I am the director of the historic Georgette Tea Room House, one of the jewels of Miami. Our goal today was to raise at least $10,000 for the renovation of the Georgette Tea Room House. The Georgette Tea Room House had been abandoned for many, many years, and it's going to take us about $800,000 to $1 million for us to restore it. It is such a special home. This was the place where Black entertainers, and if you got married in the 40s and 50s, this is where you stayed. And we want to just cherish the history of the Georgette Tea Room House. And not only that, but pass the history down to the next generation and the next generation about the value of what Miss Georgette Scott Campbell did in building this wonderful house.
Thank you so much, Miss Kim. And guys, you have to check out Georgette's Tea Room. It's one of my favorite places of historical reference. Billie Holiday stayed there, Nat King Cole stayed there, Eartha Kitt stayed there, and a host of many others. So if you have the opportunity, hit up Miss Kim, do some volunteer work, have her give you a tour. Make sure that you support this place. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace and beautiful blessings.
So thank you so much to my co-host, Dr. Delvena and Imani Latifa, and our special guest for today, Ragan Whiteside. And I do want to also remind you all that we are celebrating our 20th anniversary gala at the Lowe's Miami Beach on May 18th. We are recognizing and honoring South Florida's most powerful and influential Black business leaders for 2024. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on another episode of MIA. So